Welcome back to another episode of the Fourth and a Mile podcast. I'm Nicholas Elliott alongside JD Zasa. We'll be getting into week 12 of college football. It's finally here. We're getting towards the end. 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks counting this week for the regular season. How you doing, JD?
I'm doing good, man. Busy week. It's been a busy week for me. What about you?
Been busy as well, getting ready for finals and just
Yeah, Thanksgiving's almost here. College football is almost, regular season's almost done, which is sad. We got 2 more weeks of regular season football. Yeah. After this week, only two. Yeah.
crazy.
All right. So we got some big headliners this week.
We're just I have no big headliners this week. The only big headliner really is Thomas Cassiano is transferring out of Boston College after getting benched last week. It's
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, there's 2 weeks left in the regular season. Why not just wait? But I mean, is what it is at this point. And then, I
Another
mean,
headliner was that Pavia tried to sue the NC. Did you see this? Pavia tried to sue the NCAA for 1 more year. NCAA said nope. Which I
is
mean,
interesting.
good try. Good try. I mean, better not than not trying, to be honest.
Yeah, for real. I mean, you might as well just try it. But the most important thing, probably this week, is another week of the college football playoff rankings is out. So let's get right into it
All
if you
right,
want.
let's do it. So, we had got some changes. The matchups in the 12 seat, the matchups look completely different because it was a big week. There was some movement in the playoff because there's a couple teams that lost this week that didn't, but we'll get into that later. Looking at the playoff bracket right now, I love these playoff matchups. Remember when I said last week where I was like, I don't care for the first round matchups as much. These I do. Starting with Notre Dame, Tennessee in Neyland. Dude, that would be yes. That's awesome. And then you get Ole Miss going up to Happy Valley. All the Big Ten schools are like, hey, we're actually imagine if SEC schools came up here. Imagine that, and we're gonna beat them. I'm like, all right, prove your point. We might see a rematch of the Sugar Bowl. If it happened today, we'd get a rematch of the Peach Bowl, I believe. I think Sugar Bowl was wrong. Peach Bowl of last year when Ole Miss
Yeah,
beat.
that was the pitch bowl.
And then the most random matchup at all. Again, if you would have told me this at the start of the year, I would have laughed. But Alabama, if it ended today, would travel to Bloomington, Indiana to play the Hoosiers in football
Yeah, it's crazy.
for a college football playoff. In the college football playoff.
Yeah,
Some
it's
other
very, very.
some other key points I saw. I think Ole Miss wins this. I love the bracket so far. If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I
Yeah,
love
they got a
Ole
great
Miss.
draw.
They got a wonderful draw. I'd also say Ohio State losing the Big Ten championship in this case, they have a night. I'd say they kind of won that round.
Yeah, they got a good draw as well.
They got a good draw as well. I don't think the Big Ten champion Oregon got an easier draw than Ohio State. So, what are some of your opinions on first the bracket, and then we'll get into the rankings in a little bit. But bracket wise, what do you think?
Bracket wise, I would love to see that 8-9 matchup, Notre Dame and Tennessee would be awesome.
And in Neyland too. I mean,
Yeah, same with
wherever
the
that game
Ole
would
Miss Penn State game would be nice.
wherever that game would be played, it'd be just that's beautiful college football. Either South Bend, Indiana, with touchdown Jesus, or you get Neyland, and probably the Checkers. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Georgia and Tennessee playing this weekend, and so I think you'll have more movement from there. I mean, I could see more upsets happening
There's so much
this
football
weekend. I
left to be
mean,
played.
so
Again,
much football
rivalry
left. I
week.
mean, there's at least like three or four teams that are not going to be here, or that will probably end up being moved.
Yeah. And there's some teams like that are like in the top 20 that could be in this thing. Biggest one, Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado's
They're
looking.
looking at that three spot going,
Yeah, BYU has gotten away with a ton of games that they probably should not won. I mean,
but give credit to them.
they know how to
I
win
give
games.
I give credit to BYU. I think they should be higher than Tech. I think they should be higher than Texas in the bracket because usually I'm SEC biased because I go to an SEC school, but I'm actually with BYU in this. I think they should be three. I think they
Yeah,
should
I
be
mean, they're
three
undefeated right
in
now.
the rankings over there because their best win is against number 14 SMU. What's Penn State, Indiana, and Texas' best win? Plus BYU is undefeated. I'd put them at three right now. If I was if I was a voter, I'd put them at three.
Hey, technically they're three, but not in the actual rankings. They're six, but still, even if they lose the game, they're still going to be. They'd have to lose like two games just to be in the big, just to not make the Big 12 championship. And right now they have a pretty easy draw the rest of the way.
Yeah, they play someone this week, and if they
They
win that,
play Kansas this week, and then they play at Arizona State, and then I forget who they play the last game.
I think if they beat Kansas, they get a berth. Get a
Yeah,
berth.
they'll probably at least clinch a share.
Yeah, and they were predicted like last to go into the Big 12. So good for BYU.
Yeah, they have a really good like running game, and they just know how to like muck the game up to where they can. It's not really like the cleanest game. They like to just make it like into a dogfight, and they will just pull
Yeah,
out those dogfights. I mean, they had
they're
like an
well
insane
coached. They're
comeback
well
against.
coached.
Yeah,
They're balanced. I like BYU.
you remember that Kansas State game they had earlier in the season?
Yeah, they killed them.
They went on like like 30. They scored like 30 unanswered points or something
Yeah.
crazy.
A lot of people thought Kansas State was going to be the Big 12 champion.
Yeah,
And
big.
BYU
Kansas State
said,
struggled.
nay, nay, nay. Nay, nay, nay. So, any other thoughts on the bracket before we move on to the rankings?
I mean, they're so out ball to be played. Honestly, Boise State is not has looked kind of suspect. I could see them maybe losing a game in the Mountain West. Like if they get in that Mountain West
You know
championship
who'd get that
in
group?
MLB again,
Do you know who'd probably get that group of five spot if it
I feel like it'd be Tulane
right now?
and
No,
Army.
it'd be Army.
Yeah, I
It'd
could
be
see Army losing to Navy, and then Army still has
Army's
Notre
got
Dame on
Notre
the
Dame
schedule.
left, so we'll
Yeah,
see what they are.
Tulane is like they're ranked 25,
I would
25.
love to
So
see
they just
Tulane.
like all they do is win. They got a new coach, and they just
John
continue.
Summerall, man, dude, watch out for him. He's going to get a Power Five, Power
I mean,
Four
he was good at Troy.
job soon. He's a great coach. Let's move on to the rankings now. So what were the big changes this week? Were
LSU got like destroyed in the
there were
rankings,
two
like
there were
nine
two
spots.
two SEC teams that moved in. Indiana, they moved up kind of where they should be. I like where Indiana is right now. They're giving them respect. They're a Big Ten team. We'll see what they are soon. Tennessee's there. I think I'd put again. I'm sorry, Texas, but I'd put Tennessee over them as well. I guess they're looking at eye test for Texas right now.
I
If we're
mean, yeah, I
by
test, yeah, but Texas has no good wins.
their
They
best
had their
win is
opportunity and they
Vanderbilt.
lost.
Tennessee's got Bama. Tennessee's got Bama as their best win, and Bama's number 10. So another big change to the rankings was the biggest drop of the rankings were two teams. The first one was the first one, which wasn't it was a jump, but not by much. Miami, they go
Yeah,
down to Georgia Tech for the second year in a row.
yeah, we'll
They
get into
go
that
down
game
from number
recap in a little
four.
bit.
They only go down from number 4 to number 9, which is only 5 spots. But
They kind
Miami,
of got respected a little too much. I feel like they should have gotten a little punished more because they've gotten away. They're the same with BYU. They've gotten away with way more than BYU. I mean, BYU's at least handled most of their business. Miami has like struggled win every ball game, and they haven't been able to put away opponents. Their defense is not good at all.
You know what they are? They're Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma. The best offense in the country. Not even maybe the best offense in the country with the a awful defense, which is weird for Mario Cristobal. But for Miami, they control their own destiny. If they win out, they get the tiebreaker because they beat Louisville.
Yep. Well, I mean, right now they only have yeah, Clemson only has one ACC loss as well.
But the
SMU is
SMU's 14,
undefeated in the SEC,
they didn't
ACC.
they didn't drop it all. Pretty much pretty much Georgia, the biggest drop off was Georgia. Biggest drop off was Georgia.
Yeah, they dropped from 3 to 12.
The biggest riser, Ole Miss. Ole Miss was not even on this bracket, on this rankings last week. Now they're right there at 11, going, we're you wrote us off, we're back.
Yeah, they've got everything right in front of them.
But
Almost.
if this happened today and Georgia's out, that's crazy to me. Never in a million years would I have thought at the start of the preseason that Georgia would be out of this thing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, especially with it being 12 team.
Besides that, were there any other big changes besides just movement things? I mean,
Not really. I mean,
did they put Texas over Penn State? Wasn't Penn State 3 last week? Or no, I'm
no,
just
Penn State was not 3. It was Georgia that was 3.
also to people that say the college football playoff rankings are SEC bias, look at the top six. There's one SEC team, but four Big Ten teams.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of respect to not really like strength of wins, more so like your record.
I
Record is mattering more. I mean,
what are
they,
you in this take? In this take, what are you? Or you can also say in the middle. You are what your record says you are. I'm not part of that group. I'm not at
yeah,
all part of that group because I think Ole Miss right there at 8-2 would probably beat.
a lot of these
I'd
teams.
I'd I'd pick Ole Miss to beat Texas, Penn State, Indiana, and BYU, and Notre Dame, and Miami.
Yeah.
Close games against Tennessee and Alabama, and probably lose to Oregon and Ohio State. Those are the only two teams I'd probably say that
Ole Miss is playing their best ball right now. I mean,
they're scary.
they're scary. We'll get into that in the recap, but they've looked really good these past couple weeks.
Alabama for our team, Alabama moved up one spot, moved up just a little bit, which honestly,
That's
I'm
fine.
okay. I'm okay with.
Just keep winning games
I
and
think
you
they're
have a
probably
chance.
rated for where they are for what their record is and how they've looked. I think they're right at where they are. I wouldn't change it.
No, I agree. Just keep winning games and your ranking will continue to go up because teams in front of you will only start losing.
Any final thoughts on the? Any final thoughts?
I think we got all the thoughts out.
Yep. Again, we'll do this next Tuesday, and next Tuesday we get an hour-long show because we had the two basketball games in between, which were really good. I mean, the Michigan State one was fine, but that Duke Kentucky game was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right. So now we're going to get into the recaps. So, do you want to start with the game you were at?
Yeah, let's start with the game I was at.
All right. So the game Nicholas was at is tell the actually, no, I'm not going to speak. Nicholas, tell the people about your weekend and including what you did the day after.
It was a great weekend. Went down to Baton Rouge to see Bama and LSU play at night in Tiger Stadium. It was a fun weekend.
And what did you do after that?
After that, went to the Saints Falcons games. I mean, I saw both of my teams win this weekend, so you can't really complain. And I mean, really, the start of the game, it wasn't raining that bad. I mean, I was at the very top of the stadium, so the rain wasn't really going towards me. The wind was pushing it towards like middle of the field. But Alabama did exactly what we've been talking about in here before the game. I mean, run the ball with Jalen Milroe, get the ball out to your running backs, and they did just that. And then whenever they had chances to pass the ball, they took advantage of that and got big plays. I mean, they only passed it what like he only completed like what 9 passes, 9 or 10 passes.
He didn't complete many, which
And he
honestly,
still had like 200 yards passing because he kept getting like 20-yard plays on the
yeah.
pass.
So Alabama wins the game, and I don't know about you. This was the best performance of Alabama all year.
Yeah,
This is better than Georgia.
100%.
Like they went into a road environment. And believe me, as Alabama fans, we both get nervous because they're a completely different team outside Bryant Denny Stadium. They play the atrocious football on the road. Usually, Tennessee, it was really bad. But but Alabama learned from it. Kalen DeBoer learned from it. And instead of clapping, we used a knee. And the left guard just tapped the center to say, "All right, time to snap it." Loved it.
And then
Great,
another
great coaching right there. Not many penalties. Love that as well.
another like key was they took the crowd out of the game pretty quick. The crowd was really not as loud, but I guess the rain kind of had a little bit to do with it. But I mean, still, you went down the field the first, you got the ball first, you went down the field, took clock and then you scored. I mean, that's what you needed to do to set the tone of the game. And then you got a defensive stop in the red zone to force a field goal. And then you got the ball again and you went down and did it again. I mean, it was just the offense had one of its most efficient performances all year, and it needed at the right time.
For LSU, actually, now let's talk about winners still. The defense,
They
the
put the best game.
they're pretty much what I expected, what I saw against the South Florida game, and no one listened to me. Now you're listening to me. I told you this team will give up yards, but they don't break in the red zone. This team's
Yeah.
surprisingly really good in the red zone. They were
Deontay
efficient in the red zone, and they
best
held LSU. LSU easily could have made this game a shootout, like pretty easily because they were also able to drive down the field multiple times. It's just instead of touchdowns, extra points. And the how much after the first touchdown by Milrow, how much did that take the crowd out? Or was it like a little bit, but then it's like, okay, LSU, we can respond.
It took it out a good bit until right after the kick, they got like a 40-yard kick return, so it kind of
Oh yeah.
came back to life. And then they got that big running play, and then they didn't even like run the ball after that. They like ran it that one set play, and then it seemed like they just did not go to Caden Durham at all in that game.
Okay, I'm gonna sound a little narcissistic here, and I apologize to the viewers, but also this is more so to people I talk to. It may be different comment what most people thought before the game, but when I was talking to people before the game, I told them I'm not really nervous about this game. Obviously, I have nerves, but I think we win this game and I think we cover. A
And
lot of people picked LSU, the entire game day crew, besides that guy, if you can't see it, save in the picture, picked LSU. And I said, okay, we'll see. To everyone I was talking to, I was like, they were like, I don't know about the secondary. I go to people that they're also going like LG's defense, man. They're really good. They're pretty improved. I'm like,
you got to
hey. The reason I felt this is because I watch film and I remember last year. I was there that game at Brian Denny Stadium.
eight touchdowns.
Couldn't stop a nosebleed on the ground. And what many people consider to be kind of not a really important win for Alabama, which was the Missouri game, I saw something there that a lot of people didn't. They finally ran the ball, even when they were getting much, like 1 to 2 yard gains. was like, wait, they're actually sticking to the run game. And eventually, when the defensive line got tired, they made 3, 4 yards. The same thing happened. They watched the Texas A&M game. They watched the South Carolina game. They watched every scrambling quarterback they faced and went, all right, LSU, you face two really good scrambling quarterbacks in Lenore Sellers and Marcel Reed. On Saturday, you face the best scrambling quarterback in college football right now. And what else is there to say?
4 for 4. He already ordered a 4 for 4
He's the
for
Tiger
2.
King. He's the Tiger King. 4 touchdowns in two
Got a
games.
5 tiger, and he said, "I'm just gonna go for 4 again."
Yeah,
The live tiger thing, I'll touch on it real quick because I saw. I mean, it was kind of they definitely
I
tranquilized
feel
that
bad. I feel bad for the Tiger.
for him. It's just a weird situation, but it was kind of cool just to see. It was like moving around in the cage.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, it was just weird, but it was just kind of cool to see in person. Like
I agree.
I went down before the game to go see the Mike the Tiger. They put him in they put like the actual Mike the Tiger exhibit it's right next to the stadium. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool. He wasn't out, but I would have loved to see because that's a cool that's the only stadium in the country, the only campus in the country to have a live animal like exhibit outside on their campus.
I've never seen a game in Tiger Stadium, but I have seen Mike the Tiger. I have gone by there, and that is so cool.
Yeah,
But
Tiger Stadium lives up to the hype.
but we talk about Alabama. We're also got to be neutral here. We got to be kind of neutral here. What
They
are your
were
thoughts on that? What happened with LSU, man?
LSU went they escaped from the run too quick and
I
it
knew
seemed
they weren't going to be able to run this again. It's like I'm not always right, but like I kind of read this game like I thought. I just didn't thought LSU was going to pass the ball more.
and
Maybe
it
it's
seemed
the rain,
Alabama
maybe
played out
not.
disguise Kaiser
But
blitzes.
LSU doesn't have a run game this year. And
No.
it's not their fault. They just had bad luck with injuries. But also, you're not going to win SEC football. Brian Kelly's in his third year at LSU. Yeah,
Yeah.
third year. Yeah, this is third year of LSU for Brian Kelly. He's been in the SEC longer than Kalen DeBoer, but Kalen DeBoer's figured out the SEC. I feel like he's figured out the SEC more than Brian Kelly. Kalen DeBoer figured out really early that you got to run the football and control the clock and control the line of scrimmage to win football games. And
Yep.
so far, Kalen DeBoer's defeated Georgia, South Carolina, who's ranked, Missouri, who's ranked, and LSU is ranked. That's 4 ranked wins for
Another thing about
four
LSU
in the SEC.
is it seems like Nussmeier every time he gets in the pocket, he does not like it seems like he doesn't really take sacks. He more so loves to back up in the pocket every time. So that's why their offensive line doesn't have give up a lot of sacks because he doesn't like to stand in the pocket. It seems like he escapes the pocket too much and then he tries to like
Yeah,
force a he needs to learn to be able to take a hit is what I'm saying. Is you're gonna get hits. But he did a good job escaping the pocket and getting some big plays out of that. But
I
they
thought
just
he
couldn't get the
played.
receivers going.
I think people are too harsh on Nussmeier. I think he played fine.
Yeah, he played fine. I think he would have liked to have
I
that.
think I think it's the offensive line. They let him down, man. Alabama got pressure with 4 guys half the time. But there is one drive I want to talk about for LSU. So you're down 21-13. I believe it's 21-13 and a half or 21-6.
21-6.
You're down 21-6. You have a chance to go down the field. You do nothing. Fine. It happens. You go into halftime, make your adjustments, and you drive down the field. And this is the play. This was the play of the game, in my opinion. Nussmeier in the red zone. If he scores, it's a 1 possession game. You get the crowd back in, and we know what Milrow is. And then Nussmeier throws. Even the LSU fans know this, but Nussmeier throws a bad pick, the Deontay Lawson,
Right to him.
and right then and there, I was like,
ball game.
ball game. I didn't even have to watch the
His
second half. I was like,
first interception
got
for Alabama.
you got to convert in the red zone. And because LSU couldn't stop the run, I was like, right there, game over.
Yep. Other than that, it was a good game for Alabama. They needed this. This is their best game of the year. And especially, like you said, that Missouri performance, it may have
In a
not been
playoff
a great
elimination game,
performance.
the most important game in Alabama, the most important game on Alabama's schedule this year, they won. They won convincingly, which is, I believe, the second convincing win of Ken DeBoer's career. I mean, well, the first one was Wisconsin, where he completely dominate them. Every other game's been close. This is the first one since that Wisconsin game where it's like, nope, nope, we're better.
Yep. Well, let's get into that Georgia Ole Miss
And
game.
one last thing. Tiger Stadium is known for where dreams go to die. Yeah, dreams died.
For every other team.
Just the other team, the home team. So let's get into Georgia Ole Miss for the rest of the time during this preview. We can talk about Miami really quick. You want to talk Miami really quick before going in depth with Georgia Ole Miss?
Yeah, I mean, just real quick. Once I knew Haynes King was playing, I feel like Georgia Tech. I knew they were going to make it a game just because
I thought they
Haynes
were
King
going to
made
cover,
a difference. Yeah, me too. I saw it,
but dude, they ran the football. It was the same thing as LSU. They couldn't stop the run.
and they were running like the end arounds. The end arounds were like killing
Yeah,
Miami.
and the one takeaway I have with Miami is like, even though he's a Heisman Trophy win, even though they only have one loss, I feel so bad for Cam Ward. That guy deserves so much
Defense is
better.
letting them down.
He's a net. That guy's a he's the best quarterback in the game right now. Like, it's not close.
But other
He's
than that,
he is
Miami
so good, and that offense is really good.
Yep.
Shane Dawson figured it out. They figured it out on offense. Because that was the thing that was always killed Miami Crystal Ball's first few years. It was the offense. This year it's the complete opposite.
Yep. But Miami's got an easy way. They got a good road the rest of the way. They should make the
Just gotta
ACC
win.
championship game, but now you just got
Welcome
to
to
win.
the Just Win Baby Club. Just welcome
Yep.
to the club.
But let's get into a game where Ole Miss prepared for this game for over a year. They went out, they did it in the portal, in the trenches, and this was the game that they had their eyes on after getting blown out on in Athens 1 year ago.
Mhm.
And Ole Miss, I mean Georgia got early pick off Jackson Dart, and he got hurt. And then Georgia scored in short field, and then Ole Miss brought in Austin Simmons, who was a pitcher on the baseball team as well, and he throws gas. And he went down the field, marched, and scored, and then the game was
That Austin Simmons drive was the drive of the game.
yeah. And then they converted like a 4th and 1 to keep the drive alive. I mean, they made big plays.
So you ready for a great cold take, freezing cold take? You ready for
Yeah,
this? So in my group chat with my family, because we're all pretty big college football fans, I go, opening drive thoughts for Georgia. I am very glad I switched my pick because we bet spreads. I was like, I changed to Georgia late because I saw Trey Harris wasn't going to play. I am really glad I switched my pick.
and
Nope. Ole Miss won the line of scrimmage. I think that's the first time in a long time we've been able to say that for a Lane Kiffin team. They won the line of scrimmage against a big time opponent.
Georgia's offensive line is just not good. They have like an offensive lineman who just
They
like
got
he's playing
Tate
hurt. He
Radledge is
can't move.
Tate Radledge is great. He's going to go first round, but
Yeah, he is. Was he playing?
he's been dealing with injuries all year.
Yeah,
I didn't see it, but still, that he wouldn't have helped. Like,
yeah. They
their
crazy.
offense is the Georgia offense is broken. It's broken.
Walter Nolan is probably going to win like the best defensive lineman
Oh,
award for the
dude,
country.
because
He is
if
an absolute monster.
I think him and Mason Graham are like the only two defensive linemen I believe that true interior nose tackles. They're probably going to get drafted early.
Yeah,
That
he's
guy's alternate
yeah,
on the top 15 pick. That guy is a monster.
and that is why they got him out of the portal.
Yeah, that's why he's the best player in the
And
historic
off
decision
the
class.
edge, you
That's why he's
got
the best player in the portal. Yeah, he's what a player.
Pegues is solid for them, and then you got Princely. He's
Hmm.
a what transfer from Florida or Tennessee? Pretty sure Florida.
I don't
But either
remember.
way, he's a
Another
beast.
guy that played really well, Trey Miss, Alabama receiver, knows how to beat Georgia, played great against them in the SEC championship, played great against them today.
Yeah,
But
he's a fast riser in the draft as well.
this game said more to me about Georgia than Ole Miss. I knew Ole Miss was really good. I knew they were really good. It's just they haven't clicked yet. They're clicking at the right time, which is great for Ole Miss. Do they have the embarrassing loss to Kentucky? Sure. But they have the statement wins. They beat Georgia. They're the first team not named Alabama to beat them since they won the national championship in 2021. The first team not named Alabama.
Yep.
That's an accomplishment of accomplishments. And it was done by one of Saban's biggest assistants, Kiffin. What's your take on this game? Does this say more about Ole Miss or Georgia?
I think it says more about Ole Miss and the way they've evolved in the defensive end and the physicality standpoint. And then Georgia, on the other hand, they're just not their offense is just not clicking
They
and
want Mike Bobo gone.
gone.
And honestly, I get it. I get it for Georgia fans because
Yep.
they're kind of like they're trying to become the new Alabama. They're finally dealing with an offensive coordinator that it's not great. It's like, and I get it. I get it. We've dealt with some bad OCs at our time at Bama, but it gets better. For Georgia, you might see you there's Georgia's at a crossroads right now. You can either see the winning mentality of Georgia, and we'll talk about this more in the Tennessee game, or you see the other side. And actually, I'll save my thoughts for them for a little later in the show. But Ole Miss, you're right back in the playoffs. You just got to take care of business. It's not an easy road, but take care of business. You're in the playoffs.
Yep.
Congratulations, Lane Kiffin. Congratulations, Ole Miss. This was your
They
biggest
have a
win.
bye week this week.
This was their biggest win since this was their biggest win probably since Alabama. Alabama in 2015 with Freeze when they beat them in Oxford. I would argue, but yeah, it was a statement with statement wins. And to top that all off, you get the best receiving recruit you've had. You get Caleb Cunningham, who Mississippi guy, 5-star recruit, highest rated receiving recruit for Ole Miss that to get committed since Laquan Treadwell.
And he was a freak at Ole Miss.
Yep.
But other than that, good win for Ole Miss. I mean, they're peaking at the right time. That's all you can
Yeah.
ask for.
All right, let's get into the preview for this week. What game are we starting off with? We starting with the game of the week?
Start off with the game of the week. Not too many games
Tennessee.
this week.
Tennessee going to Athens is the big game of the week.
Really, the only good game of the week, unfortunately. But
Actually,
still, that means crazy. That means
there's a
crazy
few
can happen.
there's a few sneakers in sneaky ones in here, but yeah, it's headlined by one game, but that means Volcanic
That means
Saturday.
craziness.
Yeah, watch out for a Volcanic Saturday. So, Tennessee, Georgia. Big story coming into this game, Nico Imaliava's status. Right now, he is listed as we don't know.
I think is the injury report come out tonight?
It should be out right now.
Oh, what do you
So
think I'm gonna look it up right now, but
So
you
there's
can
been
tell
two ways looking at this. Number one, the Bear. Remember Chris, the Bear, on College Game Day, who's now on Big Noon. He said he's not playing,
right
but
now he's listed as questionable.
but then you hear Josh Heupel. He goes, he's been practicing. It depends. So my guess is he'll go. That's my guess. but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. Even with that said, depending on his status or not, I still think it's going to be close. And it's not really because of Tennessee. It's not really because I think Tennessee's great. I think they're great on one side of the ball. I think they have the best defense in the country. It's the best I've
And
seen.
Georgia has been
They've
suspect as
both
of late.
been their defense has been good. Like it's not been bad, but I think they've been put in bad situations. It's more so the offense. It's like the offense is on both sides. Even Tennessee, where it's like, yeah, they're okay. They've been good. I mean, they're really good at running the football, which is good, which is huge in the veer and shoot. It's the passing game's been kind of,
Yep,
and they're a really slow starting team. And another thing about this game, and Tennessee fans know this, they're a completely different team when it's not in Neyland Stadium.
agreed.
And the last time Tennessee beat Georgia, you remember this game?
Josh Dobbs, Hail Mary.
Jawan Jennings, who probably could have been Super Bowl MVP of last year's Super Bowl if it wasn't for the Chiefs. So, what are you looking for in this game on both sides? And what do you see as the advantage on who do you see?
Yeah, I mean, really, I want to see how the Georgia secondary does against this Tennessee, especially if Nico plays, because they do all these slants, long balls, deep balls, and their secondary has been very suspect these past couple weeks and prone to giving up big plays. Especially there, I saw a lot of plays where they were running like the same plays as Tennessee would, like slant straight down in the middle of the field, and Ole Miss was getting big plays and slicing through that Georgia
Yeah.
secondary. And Tennessee can see that on film and make mistakes, and they also can be balanced. They got Dylan Sampson. I think he might be on the injury list as well. Um, but they're just a very balanced offense, and their defense is I mean, they play complementary football, and Georgia just needs, like you said, they just need to get off to a good start because they really have gotten off to slow starts and turnovers have just been
Yeah.
their downfall this season on the offensive end.
So in preparation for this podcast and for my enjoyment, I watched the last two Tennessee versus Georgia games. The one in Athens 2 years ago when Tennessee was one, Georgia was three. And then I watched last year's game. Some of the takeaways I took away. One, Georgia had some great players, man. Like
Yep. They
the
also Kirby just knows how to
defensive
scheme
scheme,
against that.
the defensive scheme was great, but oh my God.
Yeah,
Like
their talent is insane.
dude, against the defense, like Keely Ringo. Remember Keely Ringo?
Yeah,
That
he's
guy,
like
that guy
non-existent in NFL
blanketed,
now.
he blanketed Jalen Hyatt. Not a factor at all. Brock Bowers, he was the massive story in last year's game. That and also Milton's Milton. He was inconsistent, but has a rocket up an arm. Tennessee got absolutely owned on the line of scrimmage in both games, both sides, especially in the Athens game. In the Athens game, they're down by 14 late. The final drive, 4 sacks in a row. Same blitz, just different way. 4 sacks in a row. So the good news for Tennessee, they are better on the line of scrimmage this year than they have been the past 2 years combined. Their offensive line is solid. Their defensive line is incredible. Dude. Again, I'm going to speak wonders about this Tennessee defense. I mean, how couldn't I? It's the reason they're a top 18 in the nation. It's not because of their offense.
Yep.
Fourth,
Their offense has been really like,
last time I checked for around the SEC, which was the package I do weekly for WUA, they were fourth in the country in total defense. And
yeah,
compared
their
to the
defense
teams
is
ahead
elite.
of them, which were like Ohio State and a few others, they had the best. They had the best strength of schedule, and
Yep.
their most points they've given up all year, 19 points. In which game was that? They're only lost in Fayetteville.
Yep. That's a tough place to play. Georgia, I mean, I just want to see them get off to a quick start, better start than what they've had the past like month. It seems like they've gone off to slow starts almost every game this season, it seems like, except for the Clemson game. But I mean, they just need to just not turn the ball over. They have home field advantage. It's gonna be rocking. That's a rivalry game. I mean, this is a big game, and they're starting their both elimination, not really elimination for Tennessee because they have that one loss.
Tennessee,
So they can still
Tennessee.
take a loss.
If you're
But
Tennessee, if you're Tennessee, you would really like to win this game because
you don't play to
you
lose.
don't
You
know
play
what
to win.
you don't know what's going to happen with everything going on with other two lost SEC games. If you win this game, you're in control of your destiny, and you're probably going to Atlanta to go play in the SEC
Yep.
champion. If you lose, you're not out of it. You don't control your destiny as much as you would if you won the game. Georgia, it's playoff elimination. It's as simple as that. So for me, everything leads me to pick Tennessee, and I really want to. But there are two things that I don't know who I'm going to pick. Before I get that out of the way, I'll get into my prediction later. There are two things that I keep going back to: Kirby Smart and the culture that Georgia has. It's great. It's really good winning culture at Georgia. They
On the
win.
field.
There's a reason I said winning. They're a winning culture. The second, Sanford Stadium. When was the last time Sanford Stadium had a massive game like this? Probably the Notre Dame game all those years ago.
I mean, I guess the
Ole Miss
Tennessee game
wasn't as
first
Ole Miss,
time.
Ole Miss wasn't as highly ranked last year. Sanford Stadium has not had a massive game at night in a long time.
Probably the 2022 Tennessee game that was massive, but
I
that
agree,
was like
but
afternoon.
at night, how often does Sanford Stadium get a game at night?
Never.
Never. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I can't wait. It's gonna be the best game of the night, best game of the day.
Hopefully it comes through. Hopefully Nico plays. You just want all your
I
best
hope
players.
he
You just want
plays.
to see all the good players play, man.
I
That's all
hope
you
he
want to
plays.
see.
The key player of the game is Dylan Sampson. If he has a big day, Tennessee's gonna win this game.
And Ole Miss doesn't. Georgia, what they kind of plays to their strength. They're not really a team that gives up a lot in the run, so that kind of helps them out. But let's get into this next matchup. The team that's been going up the ladder these past couple weeks. The South Carolina Gamecocks, man, they've been playing some great ball. When Norris Sellers is getting more comfortable in the offense, he's looking really good. They're starting to get Raheem Sanders more involved. And they went into Vanderbilt last week and just handled business. I mean, they won by 14. I mean, they dominate. I mean, that's
Their
not many teams
defensive line,
able to do that.
their def- everything Alabama wanted to do in their game against Vanderbilt, South Carolina did. Their defensive line is so good. It's the best defensive line in the SEC. And Dylan Stewart, holy crap, that guy's gonna get so much money to stay in college.
And then Missouri, and they last week they won barely. They got like they were tied late against Oklahoma, then like
That
forced a
was the
fumble,
funny that
scored a
was
touchdown.
no joke. That was one of the best games of the week, and also one of the funniest games of the week.
Yep.
It was awesome. So this game, I don't think it's gonna be close. I think Missouri's a good team. I do.
Is
But
what Brady Cook's
South Carolina,
he
but South Carolina's a damn good football
in
team.
that game's at South Carolina, so they
Yeah, and also I might st I might be stealing this from Josh Pate. I don't know, but I heard it on Josh Pate's show, and I love it. It's Cockvem. It's Cockvember. It's Cocktober died so we could have Cockvember. I cannot wait for South Carolina and Missouri. I think South Carolina is one of the best teams. They're still one of the most underrated teams. They're really good, and Beamer's got Beamer's got something. Like we all said this about Spencer Rattler after they beat Tennessee, but I really think this is better because they're building in the trenches, which a lot of teams, especially one team in Gainesville, has not been able to do in recent memory. South Carolina, they're figuring it out. Good for South Carolina. Great game. I think they win.
yeah, I think they win handily against Missouri, especially if Brady Cook's not playing. They've just struggled on offense badly.
Also, is
But
this a hot take or not? Is this a hot take or not? Dylan Stewart is a top 10, is a top 15 player in college football.
that's not a hot take at all. I mean, if he was
He's top
draft
10.
eligible this
He's
year,
top
he'd
10.
probably be top 10.
Dude, he's top 10 easily
This
in my
draft class this year is not good. He'd be a top 10 pick right now in the
be a
draft.
top, who would be the top 10 picks right now? Cam Ward, Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, Dylan Stewart, who else? Travis Hunter,
Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders,
Fedora Sanders, Ashton Genty,
Walter Nolan,
Walter Nolan,
honorable mention.
honorable mention. Yeah. Um, I have something interesting before we get into our predictions, because we might talk about these games. Look at the college football slate right now of this week. What game do you have as upset alert? Because there's one
Uh,
game I'm looking at that isn't as big as an upset that as I thought it would be, but I think this team wins. Is there an
Texas,
up?
Arkansas,
Nope, nope, nope. I think
uh, Utah, Colorado.
that's a popular pick. I do like it. That pick. No,
Um,
that's not the game.
LSU, Florida.
LSU, Florida. I think Florida wins this game.
If DJ Lagway plays, yeah, I agree.
If Lagway plays, I think they win this game. Again, as if it's if Lagway plays, they win this
Look,
game.
if they win this game, Florida's got to win. They have two straight home games. If Ole Miss and LSU, if they win one of these two games and they play Florida State and Tallahassee, they'll be playing for bowl eligibility, which not a lot of people predicted heading into the year from Billy Napier. So that'd be you don't want to like pump any sunshine in Gainesville, but that'd be a good year
It's
considering what they've
30
done.
primetime slot. It's a primetime slot in the swamp. You get LSU. You know how to beat
Oh,
LSU. Florida, you got the blueprint how to beat LSU. Can you beat LSU? I don't know.
Ole Miss kind of got lucky. When they play Florida next week, they play them at 11 a.m.
Yeah. Another game, a game that I would have put on here. I would have put this on here, but no, I wouldn't now is Clemson Pitt. Eli Holstein's not going to probably play in this game, or he's really doubtful. So no. Kansas BYU, I'm not really worried. I'm more worried about Kansas State on upset watch because they got Arizona State. I think Arizona State's a better team, even though it's in Manhattan. I mean, again, not a great slate, but
It's
it
another
could
week of football. You just got to
could
be
be
grateful there's more
could
football
be a
on.
volcanic Saturday. Let's see. Looking through. You want to head into predictions right now?
Yeah, let's see. So I
Oh,
last
dude.
week we had a
Okay,
bad week.
okay, okay. I want to talk about this game. I want to talk about this game so bad. Just think of this helmet matchup instead of the actual play on the field. You ready for this? Nebraska at USC. We're getting
Yeah,
Nebraska
helmet
at
matchup's
USC.
nice. Nice little OG.
The helmet matchup, man. But good. But
Taylor Moss got benched in other news.
oh, he's gonna transfer to like a Big Ten school and probably
Michigan.
be good.
I
I don't
mean, there's so many,
but USC and Nebraska.
but let's see. Let's have picks. We don't even want to get to recaps of last week. I know we did bad. I'm just looking at the picks.
It's bad. It's bad.
We lost to two Miami. We lost to two first games. We both did.
Just skip
Clemson
it. Just
wins.
skip it.
Colorado
Just skip it.
win. Yeah.
Just skip it.
BYU won.
Skip it.
We're on to better things.
All right, you got type. Do you get you'll will you put these down?
I'll put them down.
Let's do it. What's first up?
First up, Texas and Arkansas.
If this was a night game, maybe. And I think Texas is looking real. I think Texas looks good.
Arkansas is just banged up. They've been dealing
Yeah, they've
with
been doing
injuries.
it.
Jalen Green just can't stay healthy.
I got the horns.
Horns, but I agree, but I think it could be close.
I don't
Texas hasn't been able to put
I
away
don't see it
teams.
be close. I don't see it be close. Horns.
Remember the last time Texas played in Arkansas?
I do.
Clemson at Pitt.
Texas fans remember it because it's the whole reason why they're not like, let's go. We're gonna win. They're like, Clemson Pitt. Eli Holstein banged up.
And yeah,
He's
he's
been
been.
banged up. I give me Clemson.
Yeah, give me Clemson as
Give me
well.
Clemson.
If they did, I don't know what Louisville went in and just dominated them that last week. I mean, that 2 weeks ago, and they just
Well,
that could have been their game. If they would have won that game, they'd be front seat in the.
they'd be front seat to go play SMU.
They need Miami to lose again. I think Miami. They're
Who
not. They don't have another red game or something.
knows what we'll get from
But
Miami.
let's get into the next game. Tulane and Navy. Tulane at Navy.
Ooh, I like this pick. I've got Tulane. They got more to play for now.
Yeah, give me
They just
Tulane.
they're just looking at Boise State going,
We're waiting.
we're waiting.
All
Just
right, LSU at Florida.
is Lagway playing?
I'm
With the
not sure, but I'd say he is because considering he almost played last week, so he'd probably be playing this week.
screw it. I got the upset. I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna say it. I got Florida. They beat
I'm,
LSU.
I'm gonna stick.
They need
I'm
this
gonna
win.
stay Florida. I'm gonna stay Florida as well. But I really like them next week. I don't really like them as much this week.
I like him this week more than next week, personally.
Yeah, I just think they can catch Ole Miss off guard if Ole Miss is riding high. But their Ole Miss has kind of got lucky. I think they have a bye week this week, so it kind of plays in their
Yeah.
favor.
This
But
game this game would have been more on the national watch if LSU beat Bama last week, but nope.
yeah,
I'm glad. And I'm glad they did.
Missouri at South Carolina,
South Carolina.
and let's play some Sandstorm. Dun-dun-dun-dun. All
Let's
right.
I got South Carolina and pretty easily.
I think when Norris Sellers just continues to play well. I mean, he's peaking. He's playing good ball. Tennessee at Georgia. Let's get to that game of the week.
You go first on this one. I've been going first on a few of these.
Georgia, home team, bounce back spot. Tennessee has just been kind of cruising by these past couple weeks.
Georgia's a must win. Give me the dogs.
Yep. And Nico's banged up, so they'd be
Yep, give me
Nico's
the
not really like
dogs.
a guy who's not really like mobile
Dogs.
anyways.
Give me the dogs. Georgia's not going down without a fight.
That's right. And with another thing with Nico, if he's banged up, he's not really mobile to begin with, so that really kind of affects him in the
Throw the
pocket.
football, he'll be fine.
Sneaky. This is
But
a close spread
okay,
game.
does Carson Beck over under 2 picks for Carson Beck?
Think under.
How about over under 1.5?
Probably, I think he pushes that too. If they get 2 picks, they probably have a chance. They have a chance to win this game. I
Yeah.
think it. I think he's gonna have like
They
one
have to
one.
make this game exactly like the Oklahoma game if Tennessee wants to win this game.
Just muck the game up.
Muck the game
Get
up. You're the better defense, probably. I mean, I don't know. These two are really good defenses. So I've got Georgia. They're in must win. Tennessee's not really in must win, but they really, really would like to win this game because they don't like Georgia. They really
all
don't.
right. Let's get to the last game of the night. Kansas at BYU. Just kind of Kansas coming off a huge win against Iowa State. They just completely blew them out in Arrowhead Stadium. And BYU's coming off of a question. I mean, they won. They got the win, but it was questionable calls late that Utah was mad about. Utah also couldn't score in the second half. So credit BYU, they really turned it around in the second half. So
I've got BYU, not this week.
yeah,
BYU
next
keep
is the
they
circuit.
keep rolling. They keep rolling.
Kansas. I think this game might be a shootout.
I could see it.
Jalen
I could see
Daniels,
it. I could see it. I could see it.
BYU.
I think B. I don't. I think BYU knows what's coming because knows what's yeah. I think BYU knows what Kansas is and what they can do. I think they're going to be ready to roll. So yeah, I've got BYU Mormons.
I, I got BYU too because that home environment just an
They're
awesome.
again, they're so good at home. They have an underrated home environment. Them and Utah. Utah looked like it was you, dude. Look, Utah last week was rocking for the Holy War.
Yep.
All right, is there anything else you you'd like to say about this week or anything else college football related?
Not really. It's just another good week of college, another week of football, man. You can't really complain about that.
Me neither. All right, and that's the Fourth and Mile podcast for this week. We'll be back Friday for the NFL. And as always, have a good one.